Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome right here to the Change Reality Show. We once again right here in Arizona, and we kicking it this time with my homeboy right here, and he about to formally introduce himself to the world. And he's doing good things in his community with the Boy Scout things, along with other things. Which today you will hear his story, and he got a very powerful story. So we hope and pray that everybody get the message out the story that he's about to tell. So formally introduce yourself, young man, to the world.
Hi, my name is Joshua Jareth Burdi. I'm a senior in Maricopa High School here in Arizona. I do a lot with the community. I'm in the youth council here. I'm in the Boy Scout troop here. I work a lot with MCT as well, the community theater program here.
My man.
So.
All right then, he just formally introduced himself. Now we finna get right down to business. So tell the people what brought you into the Boy Scout thing, and I see you got a lot of passion for it. So let them know, how did you get into it, and what's your main passion for the Boy Scout?
Well, originally, my parents are the ones who brought me into this.
My man.
So, but ever since then, I've always liked, the scouting traditions and just everything they do. It's always such a great program. It's meant to help people.
Amen.
It creates good kids, good responsible young adults.
Yes.
So.
And I want to reiterate on the Boy Scout thing. I ain't never been in the Boy Scout in my whole life. You know what I mean? But my father passed last year, and going through some of his stuff, he was in the Boy Scouts, and he still had this little canteen with his name on it. You know what I mean? And I got that. You feel me? Pop been had that for many years. When he passed, he was 74 years old, so you can imagine how old his little Boy Scout thing was, So we just wanted to reiterate on that. Boy Scout is a good thing, and all those across the country that's doing the Boy Scout thing, keep up the good work, and keep focused, and keep doing what you're doing in your community to help others along with yourself, And back to you again, my man. Let them know what's the fundamentals of the Boy Scout as well. You done told them the positive of it. What's the fundamentals of it when y'all go out, hiking and things like that? Which y'all do that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Let them know.
We do. Mostly it's the hiking and stuff like that is to just sort of really learn how to survive in nature and, make sure you can survive,
Because if you put a lion in the jungle, we want to make sure the lion can come out, right?
Exactly.
That show you right.
They teach us how to, find the right plants around that you can eat or can't eat, stuff like that, and even how to cook a fish.
Wow.
Just straight from the stream,
Wow, and I'm quite sure you done did that a few times, correct?
A few times, yeah.
My man.
Most of the time we bring all the food up, but, if you ever want a little snack.
You know how to get it to the people.
Yeah.
Show you right. So you better learn in life that when you're out in the wilderness, you can't go to the grocery store. So you better be listening to what my man's saying right here. You better know how to throw that hook in the water and grab you something up out of there, and put them sticks together, right? And then put the light for them. Let them know about that.
Well, when we create fires, it's not just rubbing two sticks together
Show
anymore.
you right.
So, there are some ways where you can tie it, where it's like that, where you actually will dig a little hole into a stick, and then you'll put another one in the hole and take almost what looks like a bow. You take it and curve it and tie a string around it, and you just curve it so that when the string, it goes around it, so that when you pull it back and forth, then it actually twists the stick.
Wow.
And that'll actually create a lot of friction that'll eventually start a nice little fire.
You hear that, people? For those who out there, even you hunters that's hunting out there and you ain't never been in the Boy Scouts, make sure you're listening to this young man if you get in the wilderness and get stranded, knowing what to eat. Now, what kind of plants you going to tell them to eat out there if they stranded in the wilderness?
Well, let's see. When it comes to plants, mostly it's basic herbs. A lot of times you can find some nice little herbs. Around here, for instance, there seems to be a lot of rosemary, stuff like that.
And he's talking about here in Arizona.
Yeah,
you feel
here in
me?
Arizona.
If you're in Arizona and you're out in the wilderness, listen to what the young man's saying. grab you a few, you know, and that'll keep them going.
Yep.
Show you right.
What you never want to do though is grab a plant that looks like it has a stalk and it's a bush basically, and at the end and coming off of it is 3 leaves in each different part. If you find one that has that, and if you look at it and has a whole bunch of little red dots on it, don't touch that. Poison
You heard what
ivy
he
right
said.
there.
He straight up did the MC Hammer. Can't touch that. You know what I mean? Straight out. The young man straight up said, can't touch that. So y'all better be listening to him, you know? We appreciate you, man, right here at the show. Yeah, you know, we appreciate you. We have a good time when we here at our show. You know, we don't like nobody to be tensed up. We like to have a great time for the audience can see that everybody is on point in life, you know? So I just want to say, tell them a little bit about your schooling. You know, we know you go to Maricopa High, and what's your focus and what's your goals as you leave high school?
Well, 2 of my main goals or passions are cooking and electronics and computers and stuff like that. Eventually, I want to actually open up a cafe that's called a cosplay cafe, which is for those people who really like video games or who are into anime and stuff like that, because then they can dress up as their favorite characters and go in there and chat and, you know.
Wow. Now you just said something, homeboy, that just tripped me out, man. You feel me? Now, how old is you?
I'm 17.
You're 17 years old, and your mentality is out here. You feel what I'm saying? Which that's a beautiful thing, because you letting other young kids know that you don't have to be in the streets. You don't have to be out here trying to be no thug. Only thing you have to do is really just concentrate and get educated. You know what I'm saying? And think of ideas like you're thinking of. You know what I mean? I hadn't even thought of nothing like that. An animated cafe where you can go be whoever you feel you want to be. If you want to be Superman, put his cape on. Get you a cup of coffee into my man's cafe. You know what I mean?
To Supergirl.
And go talk to Supergirl, like he said. My little grandson, he likes Spider-Man. We might dress him up and he come running around up in there and he talk to somebody in another costume. You know what I mean? So that's a good point, my man. You know, and my little granddaughters, we don't know what they really like yet, but we'll find them out. But our grandboy, he definitely likes Spider-Man. He got the Spider-Man whole hookup, the Spider-Man cape, he got the Spider-Man plate to eat off of, the Spider-Man spoon. He all the way Spider-Man. So, you know, this young man got a great mentality at what he's thinking at 17 years old, you know? And that's a good look, man. So, do you see yourself with this cafe down the stretch soon, or when do you see that in play?
Well, I'm actually probably going to start it after I get out of college and stuff like that. I do plan on going. I have a 2-year scholarship to CAC just for keeping my grades above a C average.
Wow.
Although right now they're at a B average. So
My
I'm happy
man.
with that.
My man. Now, my man. Now, when you first heard that you had just 2 scholarships, you know, how did that make you feel as a student, man? You know?
Well, it was just something that was actually given to us in junior high. Promise for the Future came by and dropped us all off these flyers, had them sign it and stuff like that, had our parents sign them. And, you know, I was happy, you know, that's 2 free years of college just for keeping up a good grade.
My man.
And
so what would you tell these other students out here and these other young kids out here that's trying to stay on the right track and different things like that? What kind of encouragement would you give them?
truthfully, just don't give up, you know? You gotta just keep pushing forward.
My man. And you heard what the young man said, you know, education is very important. Do not ever give up getting your education, because without education, you're doomed in this place we call America. You know what I mean? You can't go nowhere without being educated, because education is something that nobody can take away from you. Once it's here until you're dead. You feel me? So definitely stay educated out here, whatever you're trying to do in life, you know. And this young man is a prime example what God can do for you. You feel me? When you're trying to do the right thing, you know. And we want to just say, man, we're very proud of you because you're doing the right thing, and your mentality is on the right level, you know. And you're not only helping yourself, you're reaching out to help others. So that's a great point in life, you know. And I knew that you had some other things you wanted to talk about to help the other young kids out here that might be going through abuse. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. You know, so this is a very sensitive story we're about to bring to you right here on the Change Show. And we're going to let my man bring his story to you. And with this story, we hope that it help some kids and some adults that's going through this problem out here, because there's so many people that's going through this problem that he's finna address, and some of them are afraid to bring it to the forefront because a lot of this goes on in families, and you're scared to tell on the family member, or you're scared to tell on the uncle or the cousin or the friend down the street, you know. And I think that is what let these people get away with what they get away with, because we have to get unsilent. And when I say unsilent, we have to be a loud voice against abuse, against domestic violence, against any kind of abuse towards a child or woman, kid, any of that. So we're going to just let you tell your story, my friend.
Well, it all started when I was about, I believe it was around 4 or 5, somewhere around there. My parents had actually a friend of ours babysit. Mm-hmm. And, well, for first while it was okay, but then, you know, he started making me, you know, touch him inappropriately, stuff like that. And, you know, he made me lie to my parents sometimes. He made me take a bath with him. It was awful. And I was so scared to tell him. And it took Buddy until we moved up to Colorado Springs before I finally told my parents, because I was afraid if I told them when we were back here in Arizona that that he would, you know, come after me and stuff like that. So
you're a young child going through this abuse, you know, and I want y'all to take and pay close attention to this young man, you know. He was a young child going through this abuse, but once again, like I said, he was scared to reveal this information to his parents, because you got a lot of abusers out here that will tell young kids, or if you tell your parents, oh, I'm going to hurt your parents, or I'm going to hurt you. That is all spoken out here in this kind of abuse. But at the same time, you have to open your mouth up and tell your parents and tell someone, because guess what? If you don't open your mouth, it will continue. So whoever is going through this problem that this young man has done went through, we ask you to go call someone right now, talk to your parents, talk to the uncle, aunt, whatever, because we must break this cycle of these monsters out here that hurt our kids. Keep on, my friend.
Well, you know, the whole court system started to come down upon him and stuff. And, you know, for the longest time, I had been the child who was, you know, the problem child, always getting in trouble at school, picking fights, stuff like that.
But what people didn't fail to realize, you was going through a situation, and they didn't know why you was acting out that way. So you really wasn't a problem child. You was a child that was going through problems.
Yeah.
My man.
And,
take your time.
Yeah, after, you know, a couple years at a psychologist's and stuff like that, my grades began to improve, my behavior began to improve. Just everything started getting better as I talked through it more.
My man. And that point you just said, I want you to let other viewers know out here, if they going through the same thing you have went through, what suggestion would you give them right now?
Truthfully, talk about it. You know, tell people about it. People most people at least won't make fun of you for it or anything like that. You know, it's a horrible thing to happen, but it will help them understand where you come from.
My man, you heard what that young man just said? No matter what you're going through in life, if you speak out about it, another individual will understand where you are coming from. And not only understand where you are coming from, but they will understand what you are feeling and what you have went through, and then they'll open up to speak on it as well and keep spreading that message to put all of these monsters away that hurt our kids. You feel me? So with that being said and done, any other information you would like to tell the public?
Well, and truthfully, tell someone right away if it's happening, because you know, when I told my parents, I was actually told that I stopped him at 1.
Amen.
I stopped him at my own self. So.
Amen. You feel me? So if you don't tell, you had these monsters out here not only hurting you, but hurting others on a daily basis. And once again, we must cut this ball and chain of these monsters that hurt our children and hurt our women and hurt our kids on a daily basis. So we asking everybody to reach out to anybody that's going through this problem right now. And any last words you would like to say?
Well, I'm at the rank of Life Scout, which is right below Eagle. And, you know, I went through getting all these merit badges and stuff like that.
My man, put them out there so they can see them.
I haven't gotten all of them on here yet, but...
He's on his way. That's his project he's working on.
After I got all those, that's when I could start my Eagle project.
Right.
Which is actually a food drive for FOR Maricopa here.
Did that. So, you know, you see the young man is a young man, and he's not only helping himself, he's helping his community, you know? And he's doing a food drive, you know what I mean? You don't find 17 years old sometime out here trying to help the community, because they into their own little world, you know? So when you find young men like this that's doing the good things in life, we have to give them an uplift, and we have to reward them for doing right. You know, you don't reward wrong, but you also definitely reward when a child do something right and great. And this young man is doing something great in his community and for himself, you know? So we want y'all to keep an eye out for him, keep looking out at what he's doing, and you'll see all his information on our movement site, thestreetswillloveyouback.com. And we're just going to keep promoting him because he's doing the good thing and the right thing in his community, you know? And once again, let the people know that event name.
The food benefit drive for FOR Maricopa, Food Opportunity Resources.
You heard what he said. Don't get it ever twisted. The young man handling his business. Appreciate you, my man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Over and out. Gentlemen, and welcome right here to the Change Reality Show. Once again, we right here in Arizona, and we kicking it with my man Josh Parents right here, the young man who you just seen, the Boy Scout young man that's doing great things in the community. And I just want to say we're going to let both of them formally introduce themselves, and we will definitely get started with the show. So we will go to my right, and we will have each one of them formally introduce themselves.
Okay, I'm Michael Vincent Burdi. I'm been married to this lovely lady, Jeannie, for about 24 and a half years. And our son, Joshua, we started a family about 5.5 years after we got married. So, go ahead, sweetheart.
I'm Jeannie Marie Burdi, and been next to this wonderful guy for over 25 years. So fell in love with him right out of high school. So
wow, dig that.
high school sweetheart.
There it is, then. We don't find too much of that right here at the Change Reality Show, but it's all good. You feel me? So we want to just say we thank both of y'all for being here at the show, and we just want to get right down to it. You know, we had your son on the show, and we just wanted to ask you two. First, you, ma'am. How did y'all get off into the laser thing? Because, you know, I just happened to see y'all laser guns, and we'll get into that right now. How did that start?
Well, when we first moved to the community, one of the first things that we noticed was that there's nothing for the kids to do. There's nothing positive to do. We have casinos, we have bars, we have parks. Parks, okay, you can go out and play in the park, but what do you play? Either you get into the park and rec stuff or you run around on the swings. But for older kids, there's really nothing structured for them to do. We looked into doing a couple of different ideas, and they're still actually in the works. Land center. We started going down the path of entertainment center, a family entertainment center, but that's cost prohibitive for us to do. We met up with a gentleman from the company that makes our guns, called Battlefield Sports, and he came out and showed us his wares and showed us how nice it was to work on the guns, how they're different from most people's equipment, most companies' equipment. And several things that we liked about these is there's no vests, the sensors you clip on, and they're very durable. One-handed shot, they look real, and it promotes teamwork. Our version of the laser tag, we always do team on team, regardless of which. There are over 200 different scenarios you can play. We mainly play 2 right now, but it's all team based. You have to work together as a team, and that's what we want to encourage the kids to do. Is, you know, you may not know the person we're standing next to you, but you will know them at the end of your session.
Sounds like a winner, you know. And with that being said and done, I would like to go to your husband, Mike, and you know, let him know exactly what role you play in the laser thing with your wife.
Well, like my wife said, we had the salesman come out. His name is Ken Dubé. He works for Battlefield Sports USA. And he showed us the guns, and then he asked me while we were having this meeting, he's looking to manufacture some parts that people that he's sold these guns to here in the United States and in other countries, but he's having a hard time getting a hold of aftermarket things. Targets, for instance. There isn't a good, inexpensive target. And I told him, I said, well, we probably can develop something like that right here in Maricopa. So he asked us to make 10 of these little targets, prototypes, and bring them to a meeting he was having in Reno, Nevada. It was actually a business meeting with all the people from Battlefield who have a Battlefield Live business in the United States and abroad. We had people from the UK here.
Wow.
Visiting this conference. And at the end, it was a 3-day session. At the end of the session, I brought these targets up there, and we used them on the last day, and they all worked. And he was very impressed at how fast my wife and I designed and built.
Wow.
Simple little soapbox targets, to call them anything else.
Yes.
And at the end of this meeting, I went there just to find out whether we were going to be able to manufacture targets and whether there was other stuff we wanted to manufacture. But at the end of this meeting, I was convinced that since we were looking for a business to get into, I was convinced that my wife and I could be successful at it, and the startup costs for this particular business was something I could scrape up with resources that I had. I didn't have to go out and get any investors.
Right.
For
you
this.
Make a few calls on your own.
Make a few calls on my own. Take out some credit card money,
that's all you.
And it's all me. I don't have to.
Man.
So I
Go
own we own the business pretty much outright. We have one partner, and those folks is another technician I work with where I used to work, and we just decided to go for it. I said, this is the best opportunity. Anybody can have. The business is simple. The equipment is simple. There's not a whole lot of cash outlay, and we can provide both charitable entertainment or recreational entertainment to a community, and we can bring it to you.
Yes.
We don't have to be at a fixed facility.
Right. We can bring it straight to your house.
That's
We
right.
can bring it straight to your business. We can bring it straight to wherever you at. If you're drinking coffee, we can bring it to the coffee
We
shop.
bring to the
Yeah,
coffee
You
absolutely.
feel me? So we just letting you know how this couple is handling their business. You feel me? It's no limitation on what you can be in life, and there's no limitation on what you can accomplish in life unless you put limitations on yourself. And if you any type of entrepreneur, there's no limitations on self. I'm here to tell you. You feel me? So without that being said and done, you know, I want to say we're very proud of both of you all
Thank you.
for even putting that in your mind to reach out and not only help yourself but help others with this technology that's going on around America, you know?
Yeah.
And I also want to ask you too, can you tell the people about your great son that was on our show, you know? Can you elaborate on that and how proud you is of your little man?
Well, as you heard earlier, you know, he has had a lot of obstacles to overcome. He's a great kid. He's always wanted to shine. He wanted to be a movie star. We got him into acting and modeling. 5 years old, he'd walk into the tuxedo shop that he worked for, and they'd let him walk to the back, and he'd pick out his own tux, his own
Wow.
vest, his own tie.
Oh, man.
Never once messed up.
Oh, man.
Every time he'd pick an outfit, they like, that looks good. They never questioned what he chose. So when he started having some problems, you know, we were getting frustrated and everything with him. As we've watched him grow through his problems and we've helped him go through his problems, and we tell him every positive step that he does, every time he does something good, every time he makes it into the paper, his accomplishing eagle, which will happen before he's 18. To me, that's telling his abuser, you know, that I don't want to say up yours on your show. You
No,
can
you
edit
can-
that out, but
This is real.
okay.
We
well,
don't.
you tell him up yours. This is what I think of what you did to me. That's what he's doing. He's telling him, I'm not your victim anymore. That I've got my own life. Regardless of what you did, you can't control me.
Bottom line, and I'm glad that you're speaking out about that too, because you're not only letting people know about your son, you're letting other people know that who's been through what your son been through,
Right.
to feel and think the same way.
Right.
Because if you sit back and let your abuser think they controls your situation and you go down in the dumps because of that, then they win.
Exactly.
But
They're still
you-
controlling you.
You letting the people know that your son, yeah, it happened to your son, but he's moved on, he's coping with the situation,
Right.
he's learned that it wasn't his fault,
Exactly.
and he learned that it was the abuser's fault because he was a child.
Exactly.
And we have a grown individual taking advantage of a child.
Exactly.
So my man is doing the right thing, and we want to tell all your abusers out there, you feel me? If you're abusing kids, if you're abusing women, you already know where you need to be at. You feel me? You need to be in front of a firing squad. I tell you that right here on my TV show. You need to be in front of a firing squad. You feel me? Because the most despicable thing in the world is to hurt women and kids. You know what I'm saying? And when you hurt our kids, you hurt our future. You know? When you hurt our women, you hurt our future. Because our women is what bring life into the world. I don't give a care how much you jumping up and down on them. Believe me, there's no baby coming through you, bruh. Nowhere in America. Show me that, and I'll show you that this ain't my show. You feel me? So I just want to let all you monsters know, we ain't having it no more. We ain't going for it no more. And if you out there doing it, and somebody know about it, we're going to make something happen, and we're going to report you and put you in jail where you need to be at. Because I'm so sick of you monsters running around here disrespecting our kids, disrespecting our women, and then you sit back and act like nothing ever took place in life. You know what I mean? You done hurt a child, and then you'll keep hurting another child and another child till somebody stop you in your tracks. And I'm glad that the young man Josh stopped his abuser in his tracks. And his family, mom and dad, was very supportive of him when he came out and spoke of the situation. So I'm just telling you how I feel about you monsters. Point blank. All right, now back to the show.
That's all
We're
right.
gonna go over to you, Mr. Mike, and we just want to say, tell the viewers, how did that affect you as a father?
It affected me pretty big, because first of all, I'm responsible for my home. My wife and I, from pretty much the day Joshua was born, one of us was home with him constantly for the first 4 years. One of us was working, one of us was not. We made some sacrifices. We did without a little bit of food with us, but we wanted to make sure that our son didn't have to go through daycare.
Amen.
So it wasn't until he was about 5 or 6 when we started having to put him into daycare, because my wife and I would work opposing shifts so we could make sure that he didn't have to go into daycare. But there was a point we had to go into daycare, and we were always concerned about daycare because we've heard stories about abuse in daycare centers. Well, what bothered us is this abuse was caused by a friend that we supposedly trusted. It was the son, he was 9 years old at the time, and the abuse happened because I hired this young man to babysit my child in my home. The abuse occurred in our own home. And my wife and I didn't know it was happening. We don't have cameras in our house, so we had no idea. We trusted this young man because his mother was very nice and was very responsible. We expected that her child was the same way.
Right.
We had no idea that this was occurring. We did not. All we could see was his behavior change, and we didn't understand what was
What's going
causing
on?
the bad behavior, because we were taking him. We were doing responsible stuff with him. He wanted to become an actor, or he wanted to go out and do
Y'all made
Hollywood.
that happen.
And we encouraged him, and we actually took him to California about 4 or 5 times. And he was an extra in a number of movies while he was out there, including he was in Kate Brasher.
Amen.
But the point of the matter is we were doing our part, but we had no idea that this abuse was happening in our home. And there was one summer that we had the young man who abused our son. He was there for the entire summer. We had no idea that this was happening.
Right up under your own nose.
Right under our own nose, and we've been doing our best. And I took this very personally, because I said, I've blown it as a dad because I've let this happen. But if my son doesn't tell me that it's happening, or tell his mom, how do I know it's happening? I don't have any video. Again,
Right.
who has cameras up in their house watching this kind of stuff?
And I just want to iterate on you too, Mike. From how I'm hearing you talk, I know every man want to make sure his household's straight, especially when it comes to his wife and his kids. And every man feel that this is my responsibility. You know what I mean? But when you don't know, like you said, something is happening in your household, you can't fix something you don't know about. And I think that's the point that hurt you and your wife, is that you didn't know about this abuse is happening
We knew
right
something
in your house.
Something was occurring,
Yeah.
but
But you didn't know abuse
what.
was happening.
Right.
You knew something was happening with your child.
Because of how he was acting.
Right. The mind change was going on.
Right.
And wow, he wanted to be an actor. We're doing all the right things on mom and dad part. What is wrong with my child? You know what I mean?
Right.
And when that came out, you know what I mean?
When we found out in Colorado Springs, it was like the clouds parted and the sun came through. It made sense. All the behavior, it made perfect sense.
Right.
What was causing it?
So what would you tell other family members out here, Mike, about the abuse and what they have to watch out for with all this different, I'm going to send my child to the babysitter, I'm going to send him over here to the, this and that and the
I
other.
would be
What
very-
advice?
I would be very concerned if the babysitter is very eager to watch your child, because our son, or the babysitter, was very eager to be a babysitter for my son. Probably too eager, because he was going to be getting away with something, or he thought he was going to get away with something
Right.
under our noses. And he thinks
got
he's
away
being
with it
clever.
for a minute.
Right, and you need to be very careful
Of any of that.
and making sure that the background of the people that you're bringing in to watch your children, because you just don't know. Anything can happen.
Right.
And that's the frustrating part. We thought we were doing everything right.
Right.
And evidently
Something broke down.
Something broke down.
Right. And like you said too, Mike, it's a lot of this abuse goes on, and sometimes it goes on for 10 or 15 years, and it's always somebody's close to you or a family member, and you don't know what's happening. You just know that your child or your niece or nephew might be acting out in a different way than you think they should be acting.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the real thing come to play, that this child is being misused or messed over, I mean, that breaks a parent's heart or anybody's heart. And I'm quite sure it blew you and your wife away.
Yeah, it did. Well, we actually had to have counseling too. He wasn't the only one who got counseling.
Yeah.
We had to get counseling.
Man.
I was out of work for a while when we found out.
Mike, that is something that'll blow any parent's mind. You feel me? So counseling was a great thing, I feel, for you two, because I feel if you didn't get counseling, you probably would have killed the guy.
Yeah, even though
And it
it's
crossed our mind.
1,000 miles away.
Because it's real. We sitting up here talking reality now.
Yeah.
This is no make-believe story we up here talking on TV.
No, just to go one step further, when we found out, my wife spoke with the boy's mom. The boy's mom was irate, to say the
She
least.
was beautiful. Yeah.
She took him that day down to the police department and had him speak to a police officer, and he confessed that he committed the crime right there.
Her first
And-
words were,
and-
"Where do you want
and-
me to take him?"
Yeah, she was very supportive because the three of us, including his mom, have the same belief structure.
Right.
So she was very responsible. I
Right.
can't blame her specifically because it made this abuse what was caused this young man to do this may have been caused by the boy's father.
Or anybody.
Or a grandparent or something, we don't know, and he was abused.
But we just know he had a problem.
He had a problem and
It needed to be addressed.
And it needed to be addressed, absolutely.
And you heard what Mike said. The young lady got the same belief structure they got. So she wasn't the parents, and I want you to listen to me real good out here, fans. She wasn't no parents out here talking about, oh, my child little Johnny didn't do this, or my child little Susie. No, she didn't go there. You heard what they said. She said, where you want me to take this young fool at? Period. This might be my child, but right now he's a fool. And we finna go down here and get him straightened out with the law. I didn't run. I didn't cuss at the parents. I didn't say he didn't do that. No. They took him down there. He confessed. You feel me, ladies and gentlemen? So that's why I try to express to people all the time, don't ever say what your child won't do. Don't ever say your child is the best child in the world and he won't commit no crimes. Because then you're lying to yourself. You feel me? If you human in this place we call America, once again, you do make mistakes and you do wrong. Nobody's perfect. But in this case right here, Mike and his wife felt a little relief when the mother took him down there and got him seed about. You feel me? So it wasn't nothing that was pushed under the rug like a lot of you parents do out here. And I definitely want to talk to you, a lot of you parents. You push things up under the world, talking about Johnny, Susie ain't did this, and next thing you know, they doing more than you think they doing. Right in your own house. You feel me? And little Johnny and Susie just set you up to get killed and robbed. And you they parents. So if you ain't feeling me on that, look at the channel called ID Channel, or 48 Hours. You'll see kids do kill parents. And they do set their parents up for the fall. So understand that do go on. And we thank Mike and his wife right here because the young lady took her son down there.
Yeah.
Now how did you feel about that, Mike, when she took him down there and didn't try to say he didn't do nothing?
No, well, and it didn't surprise me with her reaction because I liked the, I don't know what they call her name. Her name was Becky, and she was a very nice person,
Lady.
very nice lady. And part of her drive for this is she knew that her son was getting in trouble for other stuff, but she did not know what was causing all of this. And
Right.
part of the other thing is she had just gotten married and had a small child at home.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not want her older son abusing, and it was, I think it was a young, baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
She did not want her son doing the same thing, living
To
in
her.
the same house, to her
Born.
newborn child.
Mm.
So there was a double reason why she
We
called
got
her.
to, right. We got to get this fool out the house.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And so he stopped living at the house with his mom. He found another place to live, and now he's a registered sex offender.
Right.
And he stopped at one.
He stopped him at
So did he go to jail behind this, Michael?
Yes.
No.
You hear it?
How much time did he do behind this?
Honestly, I don't know what he was prosecuted, but I think he's living with somebody else. But he can't live within a mile and a half of a school or anything. He's got the full package that goes with that crime.
Right. So now, right here on the Change Reality Show, we talking about sex offenders and we talking about how they hurt our kids. You know. Now, Mike, I want you to give that fool's name out for people can be aware of who this fool is and make sure he ain't standing next door to them, because this is public information.
Yeah, it is public information.
And we want to make sure that he's not hurting nobody else's kids out here. So we finna bring that news to you right now.
Okay, well, the child, well, he's not a child anymore. He's 17 or 18 years old now. But his name is Evan Bramer, and he lives in East Mason.
You heard what Mike said. Say that name one more time, Mr. Mike.
His name is Evan Bramer, and he lives in East Mason.
And what we want you all to know is watch out for that fool, because he's a sex offender, he hurt kids, and we want to make sure that we keep all spotlight on him at all given times, because you will not hurt nobody else's kid, and we got the red beam on you, just like my man Mike and his wife got that red laser. We got the beam on you, brother. You feel me? And people will know who you are through this show, because it's public information anyway. So it ain't like Mike saying your name and nobody can go Google you up, fool, and you right there. Probably with your dirty picture up. You heard me? But I despise people like that, because there's no reason to hurt our women and kids. You feel me? That's the best thing God ever put on earth is women and kids. You feel me? So without further ado, anything you would like to say, Miss Jane?
through all of Josh's therapies and everything that he'd gone through, and forgive me, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was the victim's advocate in Mesa. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. I think one of the things that he did, which was the best thing for Josh, was after he interviewed with us and talked about what had happened and how it affected, and this was all part of what Evan was going to get for how much time he would get, and whether or not we wanted money from Evan to help pay for Josh's therapies and everything. And we said, you know what, no, because we figured it would come out of Becky's pocket. You know, she had enough stuff to deal with. You know, if we knew that Evan would be the one paying for it, then that would have been different. But after we got done with all of the interview part, this wonderful man turned around and told Josh that he had been abused as a child. I think he said it was a teacher. And he said that he was afraid to say anything. He was afraid nobody would believe him. So he didn't say anything for years and years. And he finally ended up going through therapy in his 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that. He had found out that his abuser had abused over 250 kids by the time he finally spoke up. He looked at Joshua and he said, you know, we've interviewed with Evan, we've talked with him, we believe what he says. He said, you stopped him at one.
Amen. Amen. And this is an emotional interview right here today, ladies and gentlemen. And we just want you to know, if you're going through this situation, please speak up.
Speak up.
You know what I mean? Because if you don't speak up, it will continue. And that is what the Change Reality Show is all about, bringing real life stories to you people, bringing real life people to you that's going through problems, has overcame a lot of these hurdles, and now they're speaking out not only to help self, but to help others, you know. And we hope that Mike and Ms. Jeannie's message and what has happened in their life can help other families, you know.
There's
Go ahead,
a
Ms.
little bit
Jeannie.
more I want to. So after he said that you stopped him at 1, he turned around and looked at Josh and he said, "You're my hero." So Josh was 10, and here was this guy, 30, 40 years old, and calling a 10-year-old his hero because he was brave enough. He was brave enough to stop and to say something.
Oh man.
So all you kids out there, if it's happening to you, be the hero you can be. Reach deep down inside and stop those bastards at 1. You can do it.
Amen. And you know, like again, if you're going through this situation, please reach out and tell somebody, because it will continue here in Arizona and across the country. We are advocating for these laws to be changed as far as domestic violence and sexual abuse towards our children. And just to let everybody know who don't know, me and my wife do correspond with the White House all the time, every month. We do receive letters from President Obama and the First Lady Michelle Obama and Vice President Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. We receive letters from all 4 of them ever since they've been in the White House. And just the other day, I received another letter from President Obama thanking me for information I just sent him about an inmate who's been locked up 28 years for an unjust crime that the man didn't even commit. So I forwarded all the papers that the inmate sent me to President Obama. And he wrote me back and told me thank you for the information. So yeah, me and my wife definitely got a plug all the way to the White House, and they receive our newsletter every month. They got both of my books, The Streets Don't Love You Back and Never Hit a Woman. And my job and my wife's job is to, when these inmates that I know is innocent, after I research their information that they sent us, then I forward that information straight to the White House, you know. And this information right here with Mike and Jeannie, this information will also be in our upcoming newsletter, and I will forward that to the White House as well, because we must definitely, once again, like I said, we must get all these laws changed as far as sexual abuse laws and this domestic violence laws. Just like you lock a man up for drugs, you put him away for the rest of his life. He only got to commit 1 drug crime. Ain't never committed a crime in his life, and you send that man away for the rest of his life. But you got a fool out here that can molest our kids, and you give him 6 months or sexual abuse class and say everything's good. No, everything is not good, because whoever he molested or whoever he sexually abused, that child is still going through their own psychological problems. So that is never off the table. You know what I'm saying? So we must put monsters like this away for life. You know, drugs been around way before I was born and gonna continue being around. You know what I mean? So we must start fighting against this abuse and domestic violence more so than keep talking about locking people up for drugs, because you know, if you do a crime, you should pay the time. But I don't think marijuana or nothing like that should be sitting in jail for no life sentence. That's preposterous, man. Come on. But you got the sexual abuser still walking around, able to reach out to other people's kids, able to reach out to a kid off the street and snatch it off the street. Them are the people who need to be incarcerated for the rest of their life, and then you can take your medicine in jail and get all the therapy you need, because you'll never hit society again. You know what I mean? I see how parents hurt, I see how kids hurt, and then abusers right back out here raping, sexual abusing people. You know what I mean? I'm outraged about this, you know? So if you're down with us on this, get at me. streetsdon'tloveyouback@gmail.com. Back to you, Mike. Anything else you would like to say to the public?
No, I'm just proud that my son recovered from this issue and has become a responsible young man.
My man, you know what I mean? Anything you would like to say, Miss Jenny?
Pretty much the same thing. We're just proud every time he makes a big step forward, a big leap forward. We know that he's doing good. And for kids who are out there, for the parents who are out there, listen to your kids. If a kid comes to you and tells you something's going on, don't tell them no, it's not. It is.
Bottom
Listen
line.
to your kid, and you tell your kids every single day that no matter what's happening to them, what they're going through, you're not going to stop loving them.
Amen.
I made sure to tell that to Josh, and it was right after that he came to me with his abuse. I wrote it all down in a little mommy card saying, you know, I love you with all my heart. I don't know what's going through, what's causing you to do this. Know that you can come and talk to me about anything. I'm not going to love you any less.
Amen.
And I made sure to reiterate that and allow him to know that he could come forward and he could talk, and that we weren't going to be, his first words after he told me were, "Are you mad?" And the only thing I said is, "No, but I wish you would have told me sooner because I could have stopped the pain."
Amen. You know, so you heard what Miss Jenny said. If you out here and your parents, listen to your kids, because they run to you and tell you one of these fools doing something to them. Believe me, 9 times out of 10 they telling you something right, but you shy them away because you don't want to, you don't feel my man next door or your homeboy down the street done did this. Oh yes, it be always the ones closest to you that's doing it. You feel me? So start opening your eyes, your mind up, and listen to your kids out here when they tell you they're getting abused, you know? So without further ado, we're going to close out the show, and we're going to thank Mike
Thank you very much.
and Miss Janie for being a guest right here at the Change Reality Show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome right here to the Change Reality Show. And once again, we're kicking it live right here in Arizona. And we're here with my man once again, Bro Josh, and he's out here with his fundraiser. And he's doing a great job out here. All of a sudden, we ran into his scout masters and scout ladies and everything. So we're going to have a great interview. And they also going to let you know what they do right here in the community as well. So we're going to go back to my man Josh, and we want to say, hey, what's happening again? And let the people know what you're doing out here at your fun event.
Well, this is a food drive for FOR Maricopa, stands for Food Opportunity Resources. They are based out of Maricopa here, and they just service everyone here. There's about 42,000 people in Maricopa, so that's where all this food's going to. So far, I've got about 300 or so cans of food.
My man.
So that's about 30% towards my goal.
That's what's happening. And what's that goal, Bro John?
That goal is 1,000 cans of food and non-perishable items.
My man. And also we want to let you know, too, it's not just for today what my man Josh is doing. If you have any canned goods or anything you would like to give, just get with us and we'll get with Josh at the Streets Don't Love You Back at gmail.com. And we want to keep this momentum going because there's a lot of families out here that need what he's doing today and his crew right here, the Scout Masters and everything. And we're going to go right to his crew right here, and we're going to go all the way around. And we want everybody to formally introduce himself. And you pass the mic around, young man, all right?
Michael Handwork.
Billy Stevenson, Senior Patrol Leader.
Tara Allen, Assistant Scoutmaster.
Amy Steinogle, Committee Member.
And my name is Bill Whitworth, the Scoutmaster for Troop 993.
My man. So I'm going to walk over here to the main man right quick, and we're going to ask him how long you've been involved with the Boy Scout, and what kind of advice would you give these young men and women out here that's trying to get involved with the Boy Scout?
In regards to the Scoutmaster position, just since January, I've been doing this Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts since I was a kid. When I got my Eagle Scout at the age of 17, I did do the same thing. I waited to the last minute like Josh is to get his Eagle project done, but things I recommend, definitely you can contact us at any point in time. You can get joined up with us. We have a great troop of boys. We're a very active troop. We do a lot of camping. We do a lot of, Eagle projects like this with various of our Eagle Scouts or Life Scouts at the time, and really help out the community and just kind of have a great group of friends is really what I think it boils down to, is just another set of friends that you can have for life.
My man.
So.
Now, if they want to get in touch with you, Scoutmaster, give them all your information, website or whatever you have.
The website is troop993.net. My email is b.whitworth, that's WHITWORTH, at live.com. And you're more than welcome to call me as well, 480-570-4021.
My man. We're doing it live right here. Like I say, look behind you. We having laser events right here, along with the canned food drive that the Boy Scouts is giving out here in Arizona, So we're going to move right ahead over here to this nice young lady, and we want her to formally introduce herself again, and she's going to tell you what role she plays in this great event as well.
My name is Amy Steinogel, and I was part of Troop 993's beginning. We started this troop about 5 years ago, and I am a committee member. I assist behind the scenes as far as advancement, record keeping, and working with the boys. As far as scouting goes, it's an international program, and anybody across the nation can be involved in scouting. And I've had 3 boys go through scouting. All 3 are Eagle Scouts. And the values and the character development that are promoted through scouting can benefit anybody. And not just the boys, but their family members, their siblings, everybody that they come into contact with. It's been an awesome program to be involved in.
Man, we appreciate that right there. And what advice would you give, just like I asked the other Scoutmaster, what advice would you give these young people that's trying to get involved with that, and young people that's not involved with that? What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, the scouting program, like I said, is nationwide. So whatever city you're in, whatever town, big or small, whatever state, there is a scouting program. So if you were to get online and even just Google scouts in your city, you will find a scout troop. It is probably the best thing is to try and find the council, and that council can direct you to a troop in your area. The opportunities out there, and also the opportunity to volunteer as a parent for scouting. So if you know your child is interested, to step up and help out as much as you can with the program.
That's what's happening, you know what I'm saying? And we appreciate that right there, and some great words of advice you gave out. And we just want you to have a very good time here with the Scoutmasters and yourself, with the laser and the fundraiser that you all doing with my man Josh right here. So we want to appreciate that and keep up the good work. And we're going to go to your next Scoutmaster, and I'm going to flip over this way on the camera, and we just want her to tell her role and what she's doing out here to give back as well.
My name's Tara Allen. I'm an assistant scoutmaster. I assist the big guy here with whatever he needs. We like to go camping. We do Camp Geronimo. We have duty to God and duty to country as well that we instill in the boys. We go canoeing, horseback riding, rifle range, archery. Any merit badge out there? Yes, absolutely. We're there to support the boys and make sure that they succeed in this program.
And like I asked everybody else, what good advice would you give them coming from you personally that's trying to get in the Scouts or not even interested in the Scouts? What advice would you give these young kids and parents?
Just like Amy said, you can go to scouting.org. It's a wonderful program. It builds leadership, training skills, just so much. Just come out and try it. Give it a shot. You'll build family and friends. Absolutely. Yep.
So, hey, we want to thank this young lady for coming on the show, and we're going to keep moving around. We want everybody to just stay paused for a minute, and we're going to come around to this good young man right here, and you see he wearing his Boy Scout hookup all day. He representing all day long. So we want you to formally introduce yourself again, let them know how you got into the Boy Scouts and what's good about it on your terms.
My name is Billy Stevenson. I'm the senior patrol leader. I've been senior patrol leader for 9 months since our old senior patrol leader back in November moved to Nebraska. I love being senior patrol leader. What the senior patrol leader does is he runs the boys. He is the bridge between the adult leaders and the Scouts.
Oh, man.
I run this show all day long.
You heard what he said, like they say, he the boss. My man, we're glad to have you here at the show, man. And once again, what would you tell other young kids that's trying to get in your position as a Boy Scout? They haven't got to your level yet, but what would you tell them to get to that level?
Be yourself. Make friends with everybody. Do you guys like me? Yeah. You do? No? Okay.
My man.
Everybody enjoys me. That's how I got into this position. Everybody wanted me to be the leader. You can do it. I know you can. Being a leader, just like walking, just like talking with your friends. Keep on keeping on.
My man. So we appreciate you coming, man, and sharing your message as well, you know. Now we're going to go to my other homie right here. I see you got yours on. So what's happening? Tell the people what's good with you and how did you get into it?
I'm Michael Handwork, and the way I got into scouting was through my dad. He was a scout when he was his younger age. So when I got done with Cub Scouts, I joined Boy Scouts. So I like Boy Scouts. There's really fun about it. I like to go camping, and I like to do the fun activities like this Eagle Scout project here.
My man, my man. So what advice would you give the young kids, like I asked everybody else, that's trying to get into it or not trying to get into it? What discipline do you get from it?
The discipline I get from it is purple hands.
My man.
From tying all the knots and putting up tents.
My man.
But if you want to get into scouts, do it. I mean, I wanted to do it, and I'm here now, star rank, almost close to getting my Eagle.
Wow. So that's a good look right there. So we appreciate these young men, and we're going to have the other big man come back over here. And we got my man Josh into the program again, and we want to just thank him for doing the things that he's doing with his team. And they out here once again with the food drive for feeding people. So that's a good look because everybody needs to eat. Nobody needs to go unhungry because this is America and we can feed, you know. So what else would you like to say, Mr. Josh?
Well, one thing would be is that I was just told we're actually now up to 500 cans of food.
My man.
So halfway there.
Show you right. So, hey, that's what's happening. And we're going to take a short little intermission, and we're going to be right back because we got a special thing for my man Josh. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and we right back here at the Change Reality Show, still right here in Arizona with my man Josh, with his mother and father and his whole team right here once again. And we appreciate at the Streets Don't Love You Back what my man Josh is doing, and we wanted to reward him for that, you know, and give him a little something from the Streets Don't Love You Back, you know. So we're going to reward my man Josh with the Streets Don't Love You Back shirt, you know what I mean, hat. And then also we're going to reward him with the Streets Don't Love You Back shirt, for he can look like us when he ain't in his Boy Scout uniform, you know? So we're gonna reward him that for doing such a great job. And we also got him when he go in the cold weather, he can put his beanie on when he in something cold. My man. And then we want to give him 2 backpacks of the Streets Don't Love You Back. And he can put all his belongings in there when he's in school or when he's just on the road. And he can switch up green or blue. You know what I mean? So that's how we do it here at the Streets Don't Love You Back. We give back to the youth, we give back to the community. And for more information, log on to our website, www.thestreetsdon'tloveyouback.ning.com. And if you have a youth out here that needs school supplies, we also are giving our first annual school back drive this month. School start August 6th. And we're working with the Maricopa Youth Council as well with that move. So get with us. And like I said, we always trying to give back to our community, you know. So any last words from everybody? I'm going to just get a mic to you and you pass it around, young man.
I don't know.
Any last words?
None for him. I love this. I have tons and tons of fun. And I've got 4 years left on me.
I just want to say if it's something you're not sure about and you're wondering about Scouts and the uniform and everything, just give it a try. Just find a troop, get involved, give it a good, honest try, and I think you'll be surprised.
Like Amy said, give it a try. I've been doing Scouts forever. I love it. My boys are doing it. They love it. Camping, friends, family. we called our family. So thank you very much.
So last but not least, we want to give my man Josh his words, of how he like his gifts, and we'll pass the mic to his dad and his mom.
Well, first of all, it's nice because now I have some wardrobe that fits each other. So, and this is just, I'm just speechless.
Wow.
I'm so happy. This is just the biggest thing, the biggest beginning of my life, I guess. Once this is over, then I could go get my eagle. And, from there, a whole load of possibilities open up for me. So,
without a doubt.
All I want to say is I'm just very proud of my son that this event has turned out to be very successful. He did a very good job of coordinating it. It worked out very well that we had an alternate location where it was covered, that we could continue to have the event regardless of the weather. So I just want to say thank you very much, and this was a very, very, very good opportunity.
I too am proud of our son. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man. And like I said earlier, parents, support your kids, listen to your kids. They know what they're talking about. And if you work with them, they'll work with you.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, we want to just say we thank everyone for being right here on the Change Reality Show. And you got everybody's information if you would like to get involved with the Boy Scouts, if you would like to get involved with the drive we're giving for the kids here in Arizona, So the back to school drive, that's a good drive. So we're involved with that now. And we're involved with my man Josh right here with his food drive. So this is something that I would like to continue and see continue because the young man is starting a great kickoff at a young age. So this is something that you other young kids need to take a look at and start doing something trying to be a thug or a gangster. You don't need that. Take that off the table and just try to be an honest, hard-working young person that's trying to do something positive in life. Peace and love. We sign out. Streets don't love you back.